My brother died the same way as so many others. Like Trayvon Martin, my brother was just walking from the store. Like Eric Gardner, my brother said that he couldn't breathe. Like George Floyd, my brother said that he couldn't breathe.
Say his name! Say his name!
He was killed by the police! Less than 2 minutes away from here! Walking back from 7-Eleven with some snacks! He wasn't bothering anybody! He wasn't making any disturbances! He wasn't banging on cars! He wasn't harassing women or people! He did nothing wrong! They choked and tased him to death! They suffocated him! This happened in your community!
I pulled up behind the police officer and I seen Manny walking normal, nothing was happening. The passenger police officer opened his door like really hard, like just aggressively knocked Manny down with his door, and the passenger police officer jumped out. They're tasing him, and I'm just like parked behind there the whole time. They're like on top of him, just like, you know, fighting and like tasing him.
He was saying, "Sir, I can't breathe, sir." He was just walking from Revival, playing the drums, to home, eat his little dinner, to the store, get his snacks like he does every other night. He didn't slam no police car, he didn't bang no window, he didn't do anything but men walking while black.
We are standing right now at the doorstep that Manny Ellis left on that fateful night. His family has been heartbroken since March 3rd. They have searched for answers. They have searched for truth. They have searched for some amount of transparency. And all they have ended up with from the city, and all they have ended up with from the county, is misrepresentations and false narratives about who Manny Ellis was.
He was really warm. He had a warm, like, aura about him, a warm presence.
Manny was my middle child, you guys. Manny made me laugh. He was such a good boy. We did children's theater when his dad was alive. He was an athlete. He played football. Track is where he found his gift. He could play the drums, the keyboard. He played by ear and he read music. My kids were raised.
Manny was really close with my kids. He was like kind of a big kid himself. He was a good father. He had a newfound relationship with his oldest son, but with his daughter, every day, like probably 4 or 5 times a day, he was on video chat with her. And every night he would read a book to her. Manny was diagnosed with schizophrenia and ADHD. He also had PTSD and depression. We went through a lot of trauma growing up.
Probably should have been put on medication when he was younger because of some of the mental health and some of the things that went on. Manny was molested that I did not know about. He didn't tell me until later by a family member. That was hurtful for him. He was hurting.
He went undiagnosed for years. By the time Manny was old enough to really know what was wrong with him, he was too far in his addiction to be able to combat both.
So he suffered from mental health and substance abuse disorder, but he was actively engaged in outpatient treatment and AA meetings in the community and church. That was his whole life. He was not using that day. We were with him all day long. So we get to church, Manny's on the drums, and so now it's time for preaching, right? The word was about life is a vapor. You're here today, gone tomorrow.
When I got the news, they told me that my brother died while in police custody. They said no, he wasn't shot. He had some taser prongs in his chest, but there was no physical signs of death, and so we had to wait for a toxicology report, which could take 10 to 14 weeks. And that was it. There were no next steps.
It's the worst thing that could ever happen to a parent. You have to look at your boy in that casket. It's the worst feeling, the worst that I have ever felt. You could see where he had been beat. He still had scrape marks on his face.
Happy Father's Day. Hashtag Manuel Ellis. Rest in peace.
Now watch me whip. Now watch me nay-nay. Now watch me whip.
I'm his sister, I'm a mom. I've done a lot of things though that I don't even have a degree for. I'm an investigator, a lawyer, a paralegal, a police officer. I've done all those jobs. We're trying to get justice for him. We're trying to get officers fired, charged, and convicted. When a family member is murdered so violently, it's basically like half of your heart was taken out of your body and buried in the ground. It makes it that much harder for you to be able to breathe.
You just don't know what it feels like, the emptiness, the brokenness. There has not been any healing for me.
Right now, if you guys can all come together, we're gonna release the balloons off in the air. So Matthew, our brother, he's gonna read off what's on the balloon.
Manuel, you are loved, you are missed, you are remembered. On the count of 3, we're gonna say, we love you, Manny, and release it. 1, 2, 3.
We love